What's up, everybody? My name is Jacob Hardison, and today, let's talk about sway bar tuning. So in the previous video, we of course went over how to set your sway bars. And now you know how to set your sway bars, you may be asking yourself, well, what exactly do the sway bars do on my car, and what kind of tuning adjustments can I make, and why am I gonna make those? And at face value, it does say it in the name, they are going to affect the sway of the vehicle, or in other words, the roll. So as you go thinner, you're gonna get more roll. As you go thicker, you're going to get less roll. So there's gonna be definitely different situations where you're gonna see each of those in front or the rear. So today we're gonna detail, of course, the front of the vehicle first, and then we will go ahead and detail the rear sway bar of the vehicle. So on the front, as you go to a thinner bar, you increase roll, you're generally going to increase your front grip. So when you're gonna see a thinner bar a lot is going to be something like a tighter track, something like our indoor track here at Adrenaline RC. Even though we're using 13-foot lanes, a lot of the turns are tighter, more 180-ish. You know, you need the car to be able to dive in a little bit more, get that grip on the front. That way you can get into the turn as quickly as possible, which then of course also means you're getting out of the turn as quickly as possible. Another time you're gonna see the thinner front bar end of things is going to be on a lower grip surface. So again, just like I said before, it is going to increase grip. So if you're on a low grip surface, that is going to allow the front to feel like it's got a little bit more pointiness to it, a little bit more nimbleness to it. So even if you are on a big track, if there's not a lot of grip, you still need that thinner bar to be able to feel confident in the steering on your vehicle. Now, as we go to a thicker bar, generally you'll see that on a larger track that's got a little bit more grip. It's gonna tame the front end of the vehicle down a little bit more. It's not gonna quite feel as nimble. You're gonna have more stability in the car, but you will sacrifice a little bit of steering. But usually as grip increases on the track, you'll get more steering. So you're gonna want to end up taking that out a little bit. That way, again, you feel confident in your vehicle. Now, swapping over to the rear sway bar, just like the front, it's going to increase your rear grip. So if you're on a lower grip track, that is going to give you more confidence in the rear end. It's not gonna quite be so swippy, swappy. It's gonna feel a lot more just locked in, comparatively speaking. And again, you'll see that on a lower grip track. As you go to a thicker rear bar, you're going to take the roll out. You're gonna see that you're going to take a little bit of grip out of the rear end, but the counterpart to that is that usually you're gonna use a thicker bar on a higher grip track. So if you use too thin of a bar on a high grip track, you're gonna have a lot of roll and the rear end is gonna feel very unstable. It's going to want to go back and forth a lot. So that thicker bar helps to keep it more stable on the higher grip surfaces. Now, there are definitely extremes of going too thick or too thin one way or the other. And there's definitely times that even on a lower grip surface, maybe you will use a thicker rear bar compared to what you normally would. And the same reference I used earlier, because of the track here at Adrenaline being a little bit tighter, you might use the thin front bar to get your steering out of it, but you could maybe use a little bit of extra rotation. So maybe the grip level only truly wants a 2.4 millimeter sway bar, for example, but you want to get the rear to come around a little bit quicker. You want a quicker rotating a car, then you can go to that little bit thicker of a bar, go to something like a 2.5, just to get that little bit more rotation out of it, but not so much to where you just lose the rear end totally. So usually on the general broad scheme of things, you'll use the thicker bars on the bigger tracks, on higher grip tracks, and then on the thinner end of things, you're gonna use those more on the lower grip side of things. So that is pretty much gonna cover everything sway bars. They are relatively straightforward, low grip, thinner, high grip, thicker. And that's kind of a good way to think about it. That way it just keeps things very, very simple. Until you get into the super high tier end of racing, where you're racing very, very skilled drivers, you don't need to think about it very, very much in depth. And it's definitely easy to get lost in something despite it being so relatively simple. So I try to keep things on the straightforward side of things. That way again, you don't get lost in the sauce and you guys have the best opportunity at the track. So I know I've said it a couple times now, but thinner is going to be better on the lower grip tracks. It'll make the car more nimble. Thicker is going to be better on the higher grip tracks. It's going to be more stable. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.